Have you ever found yourself wondering what in the actual fuck? The Sonda of life. Feeling like Marvin Gaye. What in the hell is going on in the world as a whole, in your own personal world? Am I crazy for looking at the world different? Are these motherfuckers crazy for looking at the world the same? Welcome, motherfuckers, to a new podcast experience. How about a safe space for free thinkers? Pro-black, pro-humanity, and profanity. Stay melanated, medicated, and meditated. The Ratchet Buddhist, Stay Solid Podcast. Tune in. What's going on? What's going on, Ratchet Buddha family? It's your kind host, Roderick, the Ratchet Buddha. I'm here with a good friend of mine, Bryan, the Black Packer. We just out here vibing on 5th Street out in Playa del Carmen.
Yes.
Taking a moment for one. Today, September 6th. The black community, obviously, we received some terrible news. The passing of Michael K. Williams affected me tremendously because he was on a great journey, a great path to help his community and also find himself amongst all the turmoil of his past. So my heart goes out to him, his family, and everyone else who's been affected by his passing. So I just want to take a quick moment, give a moment to him as his soul goes back into the source. So today is going to be a day that we're going to kind of reflect on life, you know what I mean, and just the things we go through as people, as black men, navigating this world, navigating America, and the things we do to cope and how we can do better. And that's one of the reasons why I have Bryan here, because the things that he's doing is an amazing way to help us kind of not just cope, but have a different outlook and perspective on how we manage our lives and how we manage the day-to-day traumas that come about that we all have to deal with. So just to let you know what Bryan's here for, he's a facilitator and an advocate for Psilocybin, which we all know as, did I say that right?
Yeah, you got it, bro.
Psilocybin, right? I think more commonly known as magic mushrooms, psychedelics. But he's going to speak to that at length. We're going to go back and forth and have a couple questions. I have a lot to learn. He gave a great seminar the other day at a party here that my last guest Mike threw, that he spoke about psilocybin and all the great effects it can have for us as we continue to heal, as we want to expand our ascension into our higher selves and all those things. So I'm glad to have you here.
Hey man, thanks. It's a pleasure, man. Thanks for having me, bro.
Forgive the noise, they just started a generator. All right, it's not too bad. Hopefully the sound doesn't get too affected by the external elements, but hey, that's life, right? We're gonna keep rolling with it and not let it affect what we got going on here as best we can, right?
Yeah.
All right, it is Mexico. Okay, so update. The noise is still here. You can't shoot here, we gotta relocate. So these fuckers. You gotta bust a move, huh, killer?
Yeah, I know, man. We got to do it, though.
All right, we'll see y'all on the other side. And welcome back, folks. So, obviously, we had to relocate because Mexico.
They were not letting up on that sound, bro.
At all. They're gonna work all night. That's what they're gonna do. They said, "Fuck you and your podcast, cuz." Hey, but look, we back. And I think before we cut off, we were talking about. We spoke about Michael K. Williams and the untimely and unfortunate situation that happened with his passing and the circumstances behind it for what we know. And then that kind of got me to thinking, like, something that we don't really talk about amongst each other, black people and especially black men, is mental health. And how do we deal with that, you know? I don't want to use the word cope. I think that's what we've been doing for decades, centuries, is coping, right? But actually finding better ways to live our lives and different modalities to help us function at a higher frequency and a higher vibration. That way, the things that normally would affect us because of society and conditioning and the bullshit, we can see right through it. We understand it, and we're operating in a space where it just kind of sheds right off of our person. You know what I mean? So I got Bryan here, and like I said before, he is a fantastic proponent of psilocybin, magic mushrooms, and I just want you to kind of introduce yourself. It's been a minute, so tell them who you are, where you come from, what you do, and
yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. My name is Bryan Powell. I appreciate you having me here today, bro. Like, as you mentioned, like, you know, one of the things that that I've included into my journey is just my knowledge of and experiences with psychedelics and with magic mushrooms. I didn't really like come into contact with them just off of, you know, a party or, you know, anything like that. It really just came along with me just trying to learn more about myself, honestly, and just hearing that these are some of the tools and methods that some of the people have added to their journey to learn more about themselves and open myself up to the possibility of experiencing that. And that was, you know, just me coming off of the past of, you know, just being in church and growing up into that type of mentality and stuff. So just being at a place in my life where I was just more open to it, you know, I kind of, you know, came across these wonderful entheogens that have definitely helped me learn more about myself, and you know, have really helped other people that I've turned them on to, you know, work through some of the other issues that they're going through in life as well, because they have multiple uses.
Right. So entheogens. So what's that? I know they're going to ask, what is that?
Yeah, so entheogens, you know, if you are, you know, a person that does etymology of words, you'll notice that the word theo is in it, which is the same theo that we use in the word theology. So as theology means it's a study of God, these entheogens, or some people refer to them as plant medicines or biological technologies. They have an essence of what some would call just, it gives you an experience of what we call God. You know what I mean? It's a huge concept that I feel like a lot of people sling around, where you think you got like this whole understanding of being that's so highly, that would have to be so highly above us from an intelligence and you know, spiritual space. But these are all things that people just really kind of like talk about a lot of the times, that they want you to believe. They have you read books and stuff like that. But our ancestors, they really didn't, you know, have all of these kind of things to get people to believe something other than their own experience. So if you want to know about God, why don't you experience it? And this is, you know, kind of where, you know, I hope the dog is good.
Boots.
Yeah. You know, where you would have experiences that will give you not only just more information on like who you are as a person, but actually what you're in and what this whole thing is from a spiritual perspective. So that was some of the original uses.
So you grew up in the church.
Yeah.
What flavor?
I was hardcore, so I was like apostolic Pentecostal.
Whoa.
So
yeah, me too. I grew up in the Holiness Church down in the country
bro.
of Raleigh, Alabama, brother. So I understand the dogma that comes with that.
Yes, big
No
time.
doubt.
So
Yeah.
it was like the no long, like we were wearing long sleeves, no TVs, like men didn't have facial hair, can't have long hair. It was like all of these different like what they call holiness standards.
Yeah, holiness standards.
You know what I'm saying? And they would say, you know, right here, read in the scripture where it talks about like you can't attain things to be more pleasing to God, but here we are stuck doing all of these types of, you know, religious things to make ourselves feel like we're more pleasing to God, which is, you know,
ironic at best.
Exactly.
Yeah. So biotechs, you use that term when you refer to the plant-based medicine or the animal-based medicine or the psilocybin, which is not a plant-based medicine, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So the reason why I kind of like differentiate is because, I spoke about it earlier, but it's that number one is like, you know, mushrooms for instance they're not a plant, so they don't have seeds. So the way that they spread is by spores, which is a whole different method of organic existence within itself. So the same network that is used that trees communicate with is really kind of like the offshoot or the fruits of what a particular mycelium creates, which is the fruits of the mushrooms. You know what I mean? Whereas, pretty much all of the other plant medicines that you kind of come into contact with include a level of alchemy. And I say that because you got to have, different elements included. It's not just something that just grows out of the ground. So you are, with ayahuasca, you have fire and you have water and you have earth. You know what I'm saying? So you are mixing something. Even with smoking weed, you are mixing earth with fire. You know what I mean? And so on and so forth. So the reason why I kind of reference it, this is a long answer, I apologize, bro, but it's a technology is because, if you come to experience some of these other plant medicines, they do have somewhat of a spiritual guidance with it, you know what I'm saying? And one that I have particularly in mind that a lot of people have had experiences with out here in Mexico is with ayahuasca, right? Which is more of a motherly, feminine energy that is pulling you into a place of understanding some things about yourself that you may need to go through. And everybody's I don't want to contextualize anybody's experience, but there, and again, if you keep going back there is kind of like that familiar feel to it, and that's why they refer to her as Mama Aya. So there is a feminine component to it. Whereas mushrooms, bro, like, it's just something else, dog. It's like, they got here billions of years ago before there were even human beings walking this planet. And, with that being the case, it's like they are it's a technology that came here to really give you a good look behind the veil if you come to it with that.
I heard something, or I maybe watched something or read something about the primitive humans, Neanderthalish maybe even, they came in contact with psilocybin, which helped the development of the brain to come across the idea of making fire. And also, just those early on, like, how the fuck you come from nothing to, like, let's make a fire?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I heard, I could be wrong, you can tell me what you heard.
Yeah, I mean, I can...
those things kind of awaken up their brains, help them to evolve to a more modern human versus...
Exactly. I would say this is like, historically speaking, if anybody want receipts, I mean, just go check out any number of Baba Kalindi's videos that kind of go into the historical presence of mushrooms throughout all of the cultures, but just even understanding what this technology does to us, which is it increases the neuroplasticity within the brain. So you have different areas of your brain communicating with other areas that you wouldn't normally communicate with, and then thus coming up with greater ideas, greater visions, greater expanse of seeing things in ways that you didn't really kind of understand them. Like even back in the 70s, Apple, they didn't hire people that didn't do psychedelics to a certain extent because they wanted people to think differently, which was their slogan.
Their motto, right?
Right.
Different for a while. Yeah.
So just like how you just pointed out, like if these then cavemen were, came up with all of these advanced things because it was definitely because they were thinking differently. You know what I'm saying? Right, like, man, I didn't know that if I put these two things together, I would come up with this, and then now I done built a whole, house or architectural, different way of doing architecture, different ways of, coming together with different technologies to help mankind in a lot of different ways. And that's what we show proof of in even the hieroglyphics, man. But,
Yeah.
it's...
So, what was your first experience with psychedelics? When was it and how was it?
Good question, man. I would say that the first time that I did psychedelics was, it was when I was on my personal journey, and then it was mushrooms for one, because I had finally got a friend of mine who had like this mushroom, like, it tasted really good. It was kind of like a caramel apple mushroom tasting thing. So I didn't know about anything about doses or anything at the time, but I was just experimenting with it. And I had took it one time, and I took like half of it, or actually I think I took a whole one.
A whole caramel apple?
Yeah, but it wasn't. But it wasn't that strong. No.
Like it's gonna stop it.
Okay, yeah, we back on. So yeah, the caramel candy that I took wasn't that strong. You know what I mean? Like dose wise, I don't even think it was 3 grams. So the effects of it, I felt a little bit of it, but I was a heavy weed smoker at the time, so it wasn't like I could feel it like that. But like the first time that I actually took enough to have a psychedelic experience, I would say I was out on a hike. I think by this time I had worked my way up to about 3.5 grams.
A few more grams.
Yeah. And then I was out in nature, man. That was a whole beautiful experience, man. I thought I was gonna go on this like long ass hike, but bro, I just got lost in the woods.
Sit down, sit your ass down. My first time, I used to work at this golf course. I was like 16 probably, and it's white boys that worked there. We used to work the carts, right? So we used to fix the carts and drive them around and just fuck off, right? He's like, bro, you wanna have some of this tea I made, like this mushroom tea? I ain't know nothing about mushroom. I just smoke a little weed though. But he was like, yeah, man, I'm just gonna sip this tea and drive around the golf course or whatever, right? I'm like, that sounds whatever. So we drink this tea. It's like it's a good amount, like, you know, it's a cup here, so about that much for me, right?
Okay.
Probably a whole 108 pounds. And so we're driving around the golf course, and the tea hits you quicker than eating it.
Oh, big time.
Big time, right?
Big time.
So I'm thinking it's gonna be like alcohol, right? Like, I'm like, oh, it's gonna have me a little drunk. No. So we're driving, and I'm not driving, he's driving. And I'm like, bro, you better watch out for them trees, man. He's like, what are you talking about? These trees, they start leaning into what we're driving towards. I'm like, boy, it was a heavy trip for me. Like I had a pure vessel, you know what I mean? So the first time I had it, I was out of there. I thought the trees were leaning, the path was moving,
right?
The wind was blowing. It was a beautiful experience, but I was kind of scared. I thought I was gonna die.
Yeah, man.
I did.
And that's the thing about it, you know. As the one thing is that I realized like a little bit earlier on in my trip is that I was taking like certain doses of mushrooms, and I was getting the effect of it, but it wasn't like, I was just like, man, is all they talking about? And I was like, so when I got my mushrooms, I had like a whole smorgasbord, bro. Like I had the mushrooms, I had the LSD and the DMT.
Oh,
like,
so you were heavy in the game.
I had it all lined up, bro. So I was just like,
heavy in the game. Yes.
I already experienced the mushrooms, you know what I'm saying? Like I done tried to do like, I think I even got up to, I'll say this, I think I had taken like 4 grams at this point, and then I was still like, all right, it ain't that strong. I went to the LSD, and the LSD, I had a wake up call on that shit, man. Like that's a whole other story. And you know, even though it is a synthetic, with intention, I found is that you can still use it as a tool, because when I first started psychedelics more, I was definitely doing more LSD for sure. And then I ended up switching back over to mushrooms because as I started learning more, so I was taking 4 grams, but I was taking 4 grams of golden teachers, you know what I'm saying? Which is, so therefore I didn't even understand about like the different strains of mushrooms that exist.
Can you give us a quick down and dirty of the different ones, the most popular ones, I guess?
Yeah, so I mean, the most ones that people gonna come into contact with are Psilocybin cubensis strains, which is the standard, you know, psilocybin doses, and then you have the psilocybin. Well, I'm sorry, they're the panelist cyanesins, and they carry up to 3 times as much psilocybin per gram. So it just depends on which one of those two that you kind of come in contact with first. But let's just speak standard. Like, if you just need to take a different, like the golden teachers, they're kind of like a lighter introductory type of psychedelic experience. You have, you know, light visual effects, you know what I mean? You're not gonna be like super, super deep, whereas like, you know, you take some of the stronger different strains of mushrooms, it'll be a whole other story. So like I said in the beginning, I was taking 4 grams of those. Once I switched the strain and then up the dose, then that's when the experiences start shifting way more.
Like how much though?
Dramatically.
So
it's like, it's one thing, it's like to see shit in real life moving, but what happens when you close your eyes and then you jump into like a whole other reality and shit is moving there? Like, it's a whole different thing, man. And even out of body, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that the higher that you get into these doses, I think that you start understanding that it wasn't something that was intended for recreational use, man. They had to be using this shit for some trans-dimensional access into different time spaces, different everything, man. And I know that sounds weird, but you know, you do enough mushrooms, you'll even see like how your Marvel movies will start becoming reality to you in the way that they were.
You go back and watch Avatar, you see Avatar totally different, right?
Yeah, man.
You just understand things that are a whole different.
Even from a symbology standpoint, like how they're doing the special effects now is kind of like wild. So you can see how that is mimicked in a lot of aspects, man. But yeah, bro, a lot of the people that are creating these things are on psychedelics too. They just
I already know
that.
All right, let me pause it real quick here. All right, so Brian, so what's your favorite strain? What's your go-to?
Oh man, I mean, right now I'm experimenting with the pan science, so blue meanies right now.
Are they actually blue? What color?
I mean, all of them, like once you handle them, they have like, you can see they start bruising with that blue color. That's how you can really kind of like tell non-psilocybin mushrooms. Like if you're ever in a forest and you think, oh shit, like I think that they're...
That's good.
All of them, like, but if you start handling them and you start seeing them start bruise like blue, like, then that's how you know they have psilocybin. But these particular ones, they don't grow blue. Yeah, they don't grow blue, but they have it in this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that should go to why?
Really, just because before I started producing for myself and started trying to get more like strains and different flushes, that they were the best quality ones that I can get a hold of without having to grow them myself, because there's so many different strains, man. Like, so.
Gotcha. So, with that being said, why do you use them? Like, why do you in particularly like enjoy them or use them for?
Yeah, I think personally speaking, like I'm just an explorer. So I'm with exploring the expanses of consciousness and all of that it takes us, whether it be in these human bodies or beyond. And it's just something that I fuck with, you know what I'm saying? Everybody just isn't that way, and they have different purposes for it. And I came to know that through a spiritual journey of myself, you know what I'm saying? And just really wanting to know about me, man. And that's, you know, kind of where it shot me out the other end of the tube, if you will.
Right.
Yeah.
So it helped you basically get deeper into your knowing who you are along your spiritual journey, because at the end of the day, you want to find out what your purpose is, right?
Right.
How does that contribute to the whole of humanity?
Exactly. And, you know, it's just one of those things, man, like with good intentions and the right information surrounding these psychedelics, they can be really useful for people on their spiritual journeys. I know it's, you know, within the black community, it's been like just known as one of those white people things, man. But honestly, it's our technology, man. It's just, we haven't been educated in the right way. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna come out and tell you that, you know, your ancestors been using this, and this is something that's even a part of your DNA. You know, so yeah, man.
So when we started the conversation, we talked about, you know, what happened with Michael K. Williams, and it kind of led to a bigger conversation about mental health. How does psilocybin, how can you use mushrooms to help manage mental health, manage depression, you know, even suicidal? When you get to a certain point where your mental health has slipped away from you, your healthy mental health, can mushrooms help?
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely say from clinical studies that have already been released, and from people that I know personally and their experience with it, is it going to be like a magic pill for you? No. Like, let me not even like create false expectations like that. I don't think you're ever going to get around doing the work that's necessary to be a whole and balanced person within yourself. Like, there's no exterior things that can do that for you. But with the way that our culture has been swayed in different ways of using these prescription drugs, or using a multitude of other things to really like cope and deal with these things that are detrimental to your health and to who you are, I think that psilocybin mushrooms holds high validity in helping in some of those same areas, just without all of the other imbalances and negative side effects that kind of come along with it. You know, so to the person that is going through depression and wants to use, you know, microdosing and different things like that, will it be helpful? I would believe so, from my experience, and others for sure. It's not like one of those things, like I said, this just a magic pill makes all your problems go away, but I do believe that it pulls you into a state of being that is a lot less stressed and more balanced in your mind to make the best steps for yourself to go forward in your life. You know what I'm saying? So
cool. So I did if you saw my second podcast video, I did it on my experience with Bufo alvearis, the toad medicine, right? Which gave me a lot clearer perspective of why we exist on this planet, the connectedness of everything, the love, the energy, the vibrations that all human beings have that makes us human, and how we are here to be one with the planet and everything else that exists, right? There's just an energy that you have to be using that modality to kind of understand. I can explain it to you till I'm blue in the face. You saw my last video. I try to do it as best I could.
There's no words
but there's no words for it, right? There's just the essence of love, the essence of connectedness, the essence of it. Mm-hmm. That's all I got right now, right? But I think that it helped me with like anxiety. Like, I have no reasons to be anxious. I don't fear death, so to speak, anymore. I kind of know what it's all about, right? And I think that when things like death happens in this natural world, we don't understand, right? And you spoke about this the other day at your seminar a little bit. Like, we take death so hard because we just don't know. We don't know what happens to this person once they leave this physical body and their soul is back into the source, and it comes back, what I believe, at whatever it needs to come back as. Who knows, right? But it never dies, so to speak. And that kind of lets me be more at ease with the idea of death. So I just say that, so when we're mourning the Michael K. Williams of the world, and anybody else that we lose in life, we can more celebrate a soul being released back to source, and to come back as something else and have a whole nother life experience. And at the end of the day, I think that every existence that we have is to teach us a lesson. I think that lesson is love. I don't know how you feel about that, but can you elaborate on what you think the death experience may be like, and how using these medicines or using the tool of psilocybin to reframe your mind a little bit on how we go about,
Yeah, I mean, I'm mostly along the tracks of which you kind of articulated. I think that the experience of like something is like extreme is, and I'm not saying extreme like never try it, like it's dangerous, but extreme in terms of, it's 5-MeO DMT is the strongest form of DMT that you can take on the planet that I know of right now. So, and having that powerful of a psychedelic experience with, like I said, when I did it, dude, I didn't have words for it, but you definitely removes a lot of the fear. Like, once you get to a point of letting go within that experience, that this is death, and this is what we all scared of, man. Like, as much manipulating and avoidance that people go through with this whole thing, is this where we're gonna be Yeah, because you are definitely conscious and you are alive and present in that space, but you are not on this planet anymore. Like,
but it's,
you know what I'm saying?
It's pure bliss.
Yeah, man.
It's pure bliss. It's pure love. It's pure the essence of everything. Everything is one thing and alive and loving you, and you're loving it back, and your ancestors, your lineage, it's all kind of there. It's present in that space, and you're not here. This reality, this dream it's just that. It's just this realness is just the dream, and we're existing in it in this human form right now. But we're here, and we have to deal with it, right? So that is the construct of reality that we have to exist in and learn how to navigate. And using things like psilocybin helps you kind of open up your mind frame, I think, to better navigate it, better understand it, so the realities that you deal with on a day-to-day basis won't take you down such dark paths. So I think that's the goal when you like microdosing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely a useful tool. You know what I'm saying? And you know, there's different, and that's the thing about, like I call it a technology. It's just one of those things that has a beneficial effect at lower doses and at higher doses. You know what I'm saying? Where, you know, higher doses will be definitely more spiritually invoking and intense of a experience, versus in lower doses you are still getting the benefits of, you know, being in an upbeat mood, man, and just having like a clear state of mind, your brain having good neural activity and not really getting drudged down by a lot of the negative energy that you may be surrounded by or have been existing in. You know what I'm saying? So anybody that is taking any SSRIs or, you know, antidepressants, all of that other kind of stuff, I definitely would highly advise, like, if you have access to, you know, tap in with mushrooms, you will be very surprised.
Can you briefly talk about the ego and how psilocybin can help massage the blockages that the ego?
Yeah, so I mean, I have an example for it that I heard, you know, about the ego that I think is very fitting. It talks about how, if you've ever been like at a company meeting or something like that, and like, let's just say you worked on your one team, and all y'all did is just y'all one task all of the time. Y'all ain't really talked to nobody that did anything else differently. And then like, you knew that there was other parts of the company, you know what I'm saying? But everybody was just separate, did their own thing. You know what I'm saying? Innovation would be very lacking there, you know what I'm saying? Because nobody knows what anybody else does. But like, let's say if they had like this big meeting that the CEO threw, and like, instead of controlling every like little micro pod of how everybody worked, he just left the room. And then once he left the room and nobody cared about what they were going to say wrong, and they got the mix up with different companies and different divisions of your job, you start figuring out, oh man, well, the accounting team is over here having this problem with the website. We can fix that in 5 minutes, man. Like, boom, boom, boom. It'd be like, things get fixed faster, ways of communicating. Like, you'll think about a whole other application that your whole business could benefit from, because it creates communication between this group and this group, and we can make this move faster because of, you know, we got such and such in this department doing this thing. But microdosing is like doing the same thing with the ego. It just kind of like removes that out of the way. So then now different parts of yourself can communicate with each other that didn't normally used to communicate with each other anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, now you've been operating outside of love in so many different aspects of how you exist, that now the way your creativity is linked to the love in your heart. So now you're able to execute in passion and wholeness of self. Okay, so that's one example. You can, and then there's millions of other ones, because there's different ways that your brain is connected. But until you allow yourself to settle into that place of allowing them to do, I tell people a lot of the time, like, okay, yeah, just go, you know, go meditate and this, that, and another. And a lot of people, I love meditation. Like, I'm glad I had that practice when I came into you know, working with, you know, psilocybin and psychedelics and stuff, because they help in anchoring you in a lot of spaces. But a lot of people, when they tell you like, oh man, go meditate for like 15 minutes, they just are so distracted after 5 minutes. Like, anybody that's on the fucking cell phone, like, at this point, like, you're super prone to getting distracted and not having long attention span. So meditation, you have thoughts flowing through you all of the time.
Right.
So to get to these places to where your brain would normally, without all of these distractions and negative effects, communicate in that way. Now we have a way of tapping in, and this is and a lot of people haven't even experienced that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, so you don't even know, like, can you do it by yourself and without? Yes, you can. But at least it'll give you like a point and a flag in the marker to be like, damn, like when I'm on those shrooms, bro, I'm thinking that like this.
Yeah.
And then how can you integrate that and bring that into like your current reality, that state of being of feeling loved without barriers or restrictions and different in that type of way? How can you bring that into your present reality? So here you are integrating your psychedelic experiences into your everyday existence as a human being, and I think that that's like a key benefit for sure.
Absolutely. So last question. Knowing what we know, right? After doing different modalities of medicine, whether it be Aya, psilocybin, Bufo, meditation, breath work, knowing what we know, more specifically what you know of it and what it's shown you, what would you tell the rest of the world? Like, hey, so if there was one thing that we all needed to know, it would be this.
Oh my gosh, man. What I want everybody to know, it's a lot of things to know, man, but shit, if you don't know how to use it, is worthless, right? So I think that the most important thing that people should know is to be yourself, man. Like, ain't nobody out here that can judge you that's, worth it. Like, you have to be true to yourself, and that will sustain you through many states of being.
Yeah. I would piggyback on that, not saying it's hard for people to be themselves because of ego, right? And it's not any fault of nobody's own. We just as soon as we come out of the womb, we start getting conditioned, and those conditions create the ego, right? So we learn how to behave, we learn how to respond, or more so react, and please. And so we don't really know who we are until we start stripping that away. And by the time we learn that we need to strip it away, we're kind of in life, right? We're in the throes of capitalism. We're in the throes of conditioned, normalized states of being, whether it be religion, relationship models, how to make money, what success looks like, what happiness looks like, and it's all under the paradigm of what someone else told us. And so that creates your ego, because you're navigating that space, but you're only doing it with all the conditions that you've been told to operate under. And the medicines, the modalities, the techniques. I know you don't like to call psilocybin a medicine because it means it's more of a maintenance drug, I guess, or a maintenance modality, so to speak, to help you maintain a certain frequency or vibration. That helps strip away the ego so you can live and move more authentically in life. It's hard to do that for most people without basically somebody hooking some jumper cables up to your ass and like shocking you into a new space, because it's hard work coming from where we come from to get to these spaces. It ain't easy. It ain't like you're not gonna sit down and meditate off rip. You don't have the tools. Your mind, it's bogged down by a lot of bullshit, a lot of anxiety, a lot of conditioning. So when you sit down and you try to meditate, you're thinking about life. And that's not what meditation is about. It's about recognizing those thoughts, but learning how to balance them out, to see beyond them to a space where it's not affecting that stillness that you need to sit with. So being yourself is very true, but I think what you're doing, and also what the Ratchet Buddha Foundation is doing, which is to connect people with different tools, whether it be holistic tools, yoga, breath work, meditation, ice baths, things of that nature, or more plant-based medicine or animal-based medicines to hook them jumper cables up to us to get us over that hump, because those blockages are real. I mean, I think that those blockages are why so many people are still caught up in the matrix. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because it's comfortable there, or at least they think that struggling and surviving, existing is life. But I would say that what I know from the medicine, I asked you this question after doing all the work, and I'm not done yet. Nobody's ever done doing the work, right? what I do know is when I come away from all of these things, I know that the answer is love. And when you are loved, people receive that, and you can move authentically in that. And I think that's how we heal each other. First, heal yourself, because you can't be there for no one else until you're better, right? Heal yourself. It's contagious, just like a sickness is, but love is more powerful than anything, I think, and that's what I've learned from being in the medicine, that if we can love unconditionally yourself and everyone else, you see beyond the bullshit, you see beyond the conditioning, you understand the reasons and the whys behind it, why people do and say and act the way they do, and forgive and use compassion as your number one tool to approach life. That's what I learned from the medicine. And I think that if we all start to do the work, go inward, we could break the shackles of the matrix and the condition of America that's really who I'm really speaking to, is my people back in America who are dealing with the bullshit and don't even know it. They're just surviving, and letting distractions make them think that everything's okay. And I do understand that 100%. But once we start waking up out of that and become the revolutionaries for humanity that we need to be, that's how we heal ourselves, our family, our community, our society, and then the planet. And so with the Ratchet Buddha Foundation, we serve to help people who want to heal themselves, who hitting these walls, right? I know there's therapy out there. I know there's pharmaceuticals out there that people can use, but I think the things that Bryan is into, the other ones that we spoke about just a couple minutes ago, can help jumpstart a lot of folks who find themselves hitting that wall, who want to move forward, who knows there's more to life than existing in that system and suffering through that oppressive state. So I have the info available to reach out to the foundation, and we're glad to help whoever we can, right? So we're kind of a startup, but we're trying to help as many people as we can heal. Because if we ain't healed, then what are we doing? What are we doing? You know what I'm saying? So, Bryan, thank you.
Oh, man,
I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Man, have a safe trip back tomorrow. Bryan's leaving tomorrow, but he'll be back though.
Yeah, I'll be back.
Can you quickly tell them about your business when you're selling your microdosing, your CMOS, and anything else you want to share with everyone else before we?
Oh yeah, I mean, just stay in contact with me. Right now, I got two brands. I have Crown CMOS, and that's Crown with the K, CMOS.com, where I have all of the CMOS needs that y'all have.
Please tell me what CMOS does for you.
I mean, it has 92 out of the 102 minerals that your body needs for great mineral health, which is going to help you build your immune system, going to give you more energy, boost your libido, it's going to do all of that good stuff. Okay. And I also have a couple other
I got a bag.
Yeah,
I got a bag. I'm going to show you.
Let
me show you. Keep talking.
Yes. So I have the CMOS brand. Just go to the website and check it out. Also, you can reach me on Instagram. My Instagram name is The Black Packer, and that's THEBLK Packer on Instagram. Yeah, here we go. This Crown CMOS is on Instagram as well. So just as you see it right there, we got the purple CMOS in here. So this is some good high quality Jamaican CMOS for you, bro.
What do you do with it once you get it? How do I consume this?
Yeah, man. So generally people make it and turn it into a gel, and you include that gel into the smoothie or into a tea or something like that. But what I also included in here is in every bag I include a recipe book. It has 20 different recipes for guacamole, for beautiful soups, different things like that you can include it in as well. So you can get a little creative.
Gotcha. Yep. On deck tomorrow.
Yes. And this is also my other brand, Sport Genetics, where we have some premium psilocybin microdosing blends here. So this is, if you are interested in microdosing, this gives you not only just the benefit of the psilocybin mushrooms, but other key mushrooms that are great for neuroplasticity. So that's like the lion's mane, turkey tail, the shiitakes, the rishis, all of that good stuff. We also have some monatomic gold in there to to help you out as well. So it's a multi-supplement, but also still has that micro dose kick in there. So, you know, with a couple pills right there, man, you'll have a nice little day.
So I took 4 the other day, right? I'm an explorer too, Brian.
Yes. How was
I
it?
took 4 the other day, and I had a nice little mild, and I wouldn't call it a full trip or a trip at all. Just a nice, sweet spot.
Exactly. And that's the thing about it
clear.
is, you know, microdosing isn't about all of the visuals, you know what I'm saying? So it's about something else. So you adding it to a healing journey, man, like they're great.
Absolutely.
You adding it to some of your creative processes and different things like that, they'll be great. So.
Absolutely. So again, the Black Packer on Instagram.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, you know, the Ratchet Buddha podcast and the Ratchet Buddha on YouTube. You can find this video, the previous ones, and the ones that will be coming shortly in the future. I appreciate you. I love you. Stay solid and be blessed. R.I.P. Michael K. Williams.